All right, shalom, all praises due to Yah. In today's video, I want to go over Second Ezra's the 13th chapter, or in general, I'm gonna just go over the book of Second Ezra's. I'm not gonna go over the breakdown of Second Ezra's 13, 40, and 45. That's not gonna be the main focus of this video. And the reason why I want to go over this topic or the subject matter is because damn near all the One West camps who subscribe to Hispanics and Native Americans being Israelites or Hebrew Israelites, one of the main focal point that they use to try to substantiate that lie is the book of Second Ezra's and the Apocrypha. And I'm just going to state this right now. I do not subscribe to the Apocrypha. I don't believe in the Apocrypha. And when you go back and do a little research on the Apocrypha, when you check out all the documentations as to how all these different books were all compiled together, they don't even correlate with the Old Testament. And that's a well-known fact. Even when you go back, let's see, and study or read the Apocrypha out of the Septuagint all the way towards the end, it will give you like a little analysis as to when all these different books in the Apocrypha pretty much came into an existence. Like, for example, you got certain books of the Apocrypha who were written during the time of the Maccabees. You see what I'm saying? But back to the fact of the matter, because I could probably do a video maybe in the near future in regards to the Apocrypha, but I mainly want to focus with, let's see. Hold on. I mainly want to focus with the book of Second Ezra's, the 13th chapter, or the book of Second Ezra's in general. Because all these different camps, they just love to utilize the book of Second Ezra to try to prove their lies that these GMOs, lice hair, stringy doggy hair, Hispanics and natives are our people. But when you go back and study and read the book of Ezra in our schools, in the Old Testament, or in the Tanakh, nowhere out of the mouth of Ezra does he says in any of the verses, behold, is this not written in the book of either Second Ezra's, Third Ezra, or Fourth Ezra? By the way, the Second Ezra of the Apocrypha is also known as Fourth Ezra. It's not mentioned anywhere in the mouth of the Ezra of the scriptures. Because when you also go back and do a little bit of research on Ezra, you're going to find out that he lived during the time of the Babylonian captivity. This was approximately around 500 BCE. Approximately by 500 BCE. Even in the Septuagint, dealing with the book, the Second Ezra, right after the first one, it tells you that it was written around the 1st century BCE. This was way after the existence of Ezra. But when you go back and check out and do just a little research on the book of Ezra, or Second Ezra, this is what you're going to find out. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. I'm on Wikipedia right now. You can just go right ahead and type Second Ezra's. I'm not going to make this video too long. I just want to show you all the different lies that camps be pushing, thanks to all the quote-unquote so-called elders of One West who don't quote-unquote discover the Apocrypha and to made into an authoritative source to the scriptures, which is nothing but a fallacy. But here's what it says. It says Second Ezra's also called Fort Esdras, Latin Esdras, or Latin Ezra, is the name of an apocalyptic book in many English versions of the Bible. See naming contentions below. Its authorship is ascribed to Ezra, a scribe and priest of what? Of the 5th century BCE. This was during the time of the Babylonian captivity. Although modern scholarship places its composition between 70 and 200 CE or AD. You see? When you go back and check out a lot of different historians, they'll tell you that the book of Ezra was written during the first or second, not the book of first Ezra, but the book of second Ezra was written between the 1st and 2nd century AD. It was nowhere written near during the time of Ezra, which was around the Babylonian captivity, around the 5th century BCE. When you start to deal with the 1st and 2nd century AD, you're dealing during the time of Yahushua or Yeshua. This was way after Ezra, way after the original Ezra. I'm going to go to another source. This was Wikipedia.com. I'm going to go in Encyclopedia. I'm not going to read all of it. It says over here, also known as Fort Ezra, the Apocalypse of Ezra. Actually, it says the Apocalypse of Ezra, also known as Fort Ezra. The Apocalypse of Ezra is a Jewish work of about 100 CE. Another source that confirms that the second book, or I should probably say the 4th book of Ezra, also known as Second Esdras, was written during the 1st or 2nd century CE or AD. But you got all these camps running around today giving you this false pretense that the book of Ezra or the book of Second Ezra of the Apocrypha or the Apocrypha in general can be substantiated with the Old Testament. That's a lie. How come all the quote-unquote so-called elders of One West, going back to Arya, and especially Yeshaya and Kazakh, considering that they were the scholars and the historians of One West, how come they never stumbled or came across this information? Yeah, I got to think about that. I'm going to go to another source. I'm going to go on the New World Encyclopedia. I'm going to see if I can zoom in so we get a good view. All right, so it says that the book, as it currently stands, claimed to be written by Ezra. And that's why a lot of these camps are under the false pretense. They're all under the assumption that the book of Second Ezra and the Apocrypha was written by Ezra, or that the Apocrypha is authentic. It says the great Jewish leader and scribe who was instrumental in the establishment of the Second Temple tradition after the Babylonian exile of the Jews. However, this Ezra is called Salathiel elsewhere in the book, which could make him the father of the exile leader of Zerubbabel, rather than Ezra the scribe in any case, although it claims to have been written. It claims to have been written by Ezra Salathiel around 400 BCE. This was during the time of the Babylonian captivity. And it says eternal evidence suggests a much later date, probably in the late 1st century CE, 1st century CE again, with other sections added even later. Another source showing to you on how the book of Second Ezra, known as Fort Ezra, was not written by Ezra himself, but it was written around the 1st or 2nd century AD or CE. You see? But all these different One West camps, all these groups out there, such as Isupk, Iuic, the Sakari camp, the AOC, GOCC, all these different groups who stems out of the school of thought of One West, they all want to give you this impression that the book of 2nd Ezra is authentic. Why? Because they want to push this lie that Latinos and Hispanics of Eurasians, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid descent based upon the paternal lineage. They want to make you think and believe that those GMOs are our people. They want to make you think and believe that they're Israelites. But the book of 2nd Ezra, their Apocrypha is totally off. Totally false. Especially the book of 2nd Ezra. But they want to make you believe that it's all authentic. I'm going to go to another source. I'm going to go to the Britannica Encyclopedia. And it says 2nd Ezra. Two important apocalyptic pseudo-apocrypha. 2nd Ezra and the Apocalypse of Baruch, in which the political and eschatological aspect of the central to the aim of the books were written in Palestine at the end of the 1st century CE as a consequence of the catastrophic destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. You see? It tells you that the book of 2nd Ezra was written around the 1st century. Some other scholars will tell you that they might have been written in the 2nd century, or we're telling you the 1st century. But it really makes no difference, because at the end of the day, it was not written during the time of Ezra. Which is why when you go back and study and check out in our scrolls, there's nowhere where it states on any verses in the book of Ezra, behold, is this not written in the book of either 2nd, 3rd, 4th Ezra? It does not state that. But you're running around, cooning, tap dancing, doing the moonwalk, to include and incorporate all these heathens, to incorporate all these Neanderthals, all of these Denisovans looking ass creatures, animals, into our congregation. That's why when you read 2nd Ezra 13 and 40, look what it says. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea, the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, laid away captives. By the way, the Osea is Osea. But it says that the king who led them away captive was Shalmaneser. Well, let's find out what the Torah has to say, or I should probably say the Tanakh has to say about that. I'm going to go to the book of 2nd Kings. Because in the Apocrypha, it says that it was Shalmaneser. I'm going to the book of 2nd Kings. Second Kings 15. And let's see. Yes, 2 Kings 13 and 29. It says, in the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. But over here, it says Shalmaneser. But over here, it says Chaklik, Pilaser, king of Assyria. And he took Kaijan and Habelbeth, Makkah, Jano, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, and all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. But over here, in the Apocrypha, it says it was Shalmaneser. It goes to show you on how 2nd Ezra 13th chapter or the book of 2nd Ezra is a lie. And it's not authentic. I'm going to go to another one. I'm going to go to First Chronicles. I'm going to go to the book of First Chronicles, chapter 5. And verse 26. It says, and the God of Yasha'al, of Israel, stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the king of Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and half of the tribe of Manasseh, and brought them unto Hala, and Habor, and Hara, into the river of Gozam, unto this day. Two separate accounts in the Tanakh and the Old Testament giving an analysis of what happened. And they both let you know that it was not Shalmaneser who led them away captive. But all you cats want to run around with 2nd Ezra 13th chapter to try to prove that it's talking about some Mongoloid, Siberian, Caucasoid, cave beast Neanderthal, doggy stringy hair, with lice running all throughout their skulls, Hispanics and natives, as being our people. That's a goddamn lie. It totally contradicts what's written in the Tanakh. And I'm going to continue to read on. I'm not going to make this video too long. Let's see. I'm going to skip this. It says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So they're trying to insinuate and use that to say, see, it's talking about the Americas. It's talking about North, Central, South America, and all throughout the Caribbean Isles. There was nobody who established any type of civilization or inhabited any of these lands until 722 of BCE. And 2nd Ezra 13th chapter is the main focal point of the premise of their analysis. And I'm gonna go a little bit over it right now, just to give you a few analysis to show you on how it's a lie. Because what they're not going to tell you is prior to that, we was already living in the Americas. We had already established civilization all throughout this joint. That's why if we go and check out different artifacts all throughout the Americas, like over here, you got an ancient carving of a mound builder, also known as the Hopewell civilizations, and also known as the Mississippi or the Mississippian civilizations. Hold on, I'm going to stop this video, and I'm going to come back for part 2, man.